Hey everyone, welcome back to Fluent Conversations, the podcast where we talk about all things language learning. I'm Alex, and with me is my good friend Jamie.
Hi, everyone! Today's topic is something many of our listeners have been asking about: how to speak English fluently. This is a big one, Alex.
Absolutely, Jamie. Fluency in English is a common goal for so many people around the world. It's not just about knowing the vocabulary and grammar, it's about being able to communicate your thoughts smoothly and confidently.
Exactly, and there's so much to cover. Where should we start?
Let's start with the basics. Jamie, in your opinion, what's the first step someone should take when aiming to become fluent in English?
I think the first step is immersion, surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible. This doesn't mean you have to move to an English speaking country, but you should try to incorporate English into your daily life. Listen to English music, watch TV shows, read books, and try to speak the language every chance you get.
Immersion is key. It helps you get used to the natural rhythm and intonation of the language. When you immerse yourself in English, you start to think in English, which is a crucial step towards fluency. But what about those who don't have access to an English-speaking environment?
Great point. In that case, creating a virtual immersion environment can be really effective. The internet is a fantastic resource. Join online communities, participate in forums, or use language exchange apps to practice speaking with native speakers.
Absolutely. Language exchange apps are wonderful because they allow you to practice with real people who can provide instant feedback. But let's talk a bit about the psychological aspect. Many learners feel nervous about speaking English, especially in front of native speakers. How can they overcome this fear?
Overcoming the fear of speaking is definitely a challenge. One of the best ways to tackle it is by starting small. Begin by talking to yourself in English. Describe your day, narrate your actions, or even think aloud in English. It might feel silly at first, but it helps build confidence.
I like that idea. Talking to yourself can really break the ice. Another thing that helps is joining a language learning group or club. When you're with people who are also learning, it creates a supportive environment where everyone understands the struggle and helps each other out.
Definitely. And let's not forget about the importance of practice. Regular practice is crucial. Try to set aside a specific time each day for speaking practice. Consistency is key.
That's true. And while practicing, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process. In fact, making mistakes is one of the best ways to learn. It helps you identify areas where you need improvement and learn how to correct them.
Exactly. Mistakes should be seen as learning opportunities, not failures. And feedback is important too. Try to get constructive feedback from others. This can be from language exchange partners, tutors, or even language learning apps that offer corrections.
Speaking of feedback, I think recording yourself can also be very beneficial. When you record yourself speaking, you can listen to it later and identify areas where you can improve. Plus, you can track your progress over time.
That's a fantastic tip. Listening to your recordings helps you become more aware of your pronunciation, intonation, and fluency, and seeing your progress can be very motivating.
Motivation is crucial in language learning. Speaking of which, what are some ways to stay motivated while learning English?
Staying motivated can be tough, especially when you hit a plateau. One way to stay motivated is by setting realistic, achievable goals. These could be daily, weekly, or monthly goals. For example, learning a certain number of new words each week or having a 5-minute conversation in English each day.
Goal setting is important. It gives you something to strive for and a sense of accomplishment when you achieve it. Another way to stay motivated is by making the learning process fun. Watch movies you enjoy, read books on topics you love, or listen to podcasts that interest you.
Yes! Finding ways to enjoy the process is key. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're more likely to stick with it. Also, reward yourself when you reach your goals. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem.
Rewards can definitely keep you going. Another thing that helps is connecting with other learners. Join online forums, social media groups, or local meetups for language learners. Sharing your experiences and challenges with others can be very encouraging.
Absolutely. A support system can make a big difference. Now, let's talk a bit about the technical aspects of speaking fluently. Pronunciation is a major part of it. What are some effective ways to improve pronunciation?
Improving pronunciation requires focused practice. One effective method is shadowing. This involves listening to a native speaker and trying to imitate their speech as closely as possible. Pay attention to their intonation, stress, and rhythm.
Shadowing is a great technique. It helps you get used to the natural flow of the language. Another tip is to use phonetic exercises. There are many resources available that focus on the specific sounds of English. Practicing these can help you articulate words more clearly.
Phonetic exercises are really helpful. And let's not forget about the importance of listening. The more you listen to native speakers, the more you'll pick up on the nuances of pronunciation. Try to expose yourself to different accents and dialects as well.
That's a good point. English has so many accents, and being familiar with them can enhance your understanding and pronunciation. Also, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're not sure how to pronounce something, ask a native speaker or use online resources.
Asking for help is definitely important, and there are so many resources available now, from pronunciation apps to YouTube channels dedicated to teaching English pronunciation.
Speaking of resources, let's discuss some tools and resources that can help with learning to speak English fluently. What are some of your favorites?
There are so many great resources out there. For starters, language learning apps like Duolingo, Babbel, and Rosetta Stone are fantastic for building vocabulary and grammar skills. For speaking practice, apps like Tandem and HelloTalk connect you with native speakers.
Those are excellent choices. I also recommend using online platforms like Coursera or Udemy, which offer courses specifically designed for English learners. And let's not forget about YouTube. There are countless channels that provide lessons on everything from basic grammar to advanced conversation skills.
YouTube is a goldmine for language learners. Channels like English Elevate Express and BBC Learning English offer high-quality content. And podcasts are great too. Listening to English podcasts can improve your listening skills and expose you to different topics and vocabularies.
Absolutely. Podcasts like The English We Speak from BBC, ESL Pod, and All Ears English are fantastic resources. They cover a wide range of topics and help with both listening and comprehension skills.
And audiobooks can also be very beneficial. Listening to books in English helps you get used to the flow of the language, and it's a great way to enjoy stories while learning.
That's a great suggestion. Audiobooks are perfect for learning on the go. Whether you're commuting, exercising, or doing chores, you can listen and learn at the same time.
Exactly. Now, we've covered a lot about immersion, practice, and resources. Let's talk a bit about the cultural aspect of language learning. Understanding the culture behind the language can greatly enhance your fluency. How important do you think this is, Jamie?
Understanding the culture is crucial. Language and culture are deeply intertwined. When you understand the cultural context, idioms, expressions, and even jokes make more sense. It also helps you communicate more naturally and respectfully.
That's so true. Cultural knowledge can prevent misunderstandings and help you use the language more appropriately in different contexts. Plus, it makes the learning process more interesting and enriching.
Absolutely. One way to gain cultural knowledge is by consuming media from different English-speaking countries. Watch movies, TV shows, and news broadcasts. Read books and articles. This exposure helps you understand various cultural nuances.
And if possible, try to interact with native speakers. Ask them about their culture, traditions, and daily life. These conversations can provide invaluable insights and make your language learning journey more engaging.
Interacting with native speakers is definitely one of the best ways to learn, and many people are happy to share their culture and language with learners. It's a mutually enriching experience.
It really is. All right, we've talked about a lot of different aspects of learning to speak English fluently. Let's wrap up with some final tips. What's one last piece of advice you'd give to our listeners, Jamie?
My final advice would be to be patient and persistent. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be ups and downs, but if you stay consistent and keep practicing, you will see progress. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, and don't give up.
That's excellent advice. Patience and persistence are key. And I'd add, try to enjoy the journey. Language learning can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Find joy in the process and don't be too hard on yourself.
Absolutely. Enjoy the journey and embrace the challenges. Every step you take brings you closer to your goal of fluency.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you found this discussion helpful and motivating. Remember, speaking English fluently is a journey, and with the right approach, you can achieve your goals.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and you'll get there. See you next time on Fluent Conversations.
Goodbye and happy learning.